All right, so it's the morning of the trip to RADWood in Philadelphia. We've got the car all set up here. Went through and did a full detail, although we know the car is going to get dirty during the 7.5 hour drive trip down from Vermont to Philadelphia. But we wanted to kind of capture some of the highlights along the way, some of the journey, so that you can all see what it's like to go to a RADWood event. Highly recommend that you go to a RADWood event if you haven't. Try to go to the main ones. We went to the Connecticut one last year, which was the Concours d'Elegance that had a RADWood element to it. That was not a true RADWood event, so we kind of learned our lesson there. This year, we're actually going to Philadelphia, which is a normal RADWood event. If you've never been there, just to give you a little background, it's an 80s and 90s car show, kind of reliving that era. So you get to dress up in 80s and 90s attire if you so choose, and you get to put on display a car of your choice if you so choose. And there's two categories typically. There's a royalty category as well as a normal car show category. So our Legend here is going to be in the normal category. We thought about putting in the royalty category, but there was a $100 entry fee for that, so we opted not to do that. So what you're going to see here is us attending RADWood, learning a little bit of RADWood if you are into that, and our journey along the way. Okay, so we just got back from RADWood, Philadelphia, and what an amazing car show that is. So I know in the intro we mentioned how it's one of those events that you have to attend at least once and capture the experience if you're really into 80s and 90s automotive. It's an opportunity to see cars that you don't get to see every single day, and it gets you in connection with like-minded people who are really in tune with the 80s and 90s. The whole fact that you get to wear attire from that period kind of drives a lot of people in because not only are they looking to share their automotive passion, but they're also looking to relive those days. And what other way can you do that in a combination of automotive experience and proper era attire and accessories than go to a RADWood event? There's really nothing like it anywhere else. So I'm going to insert a couple pictures here of some of the Acuras that we saw, some of the Hondas that we saw, so that you can see what kind of vehicles attended. So those were some of the vehicles that attended RADWood this year. Our Acura Legend was on display, as you know. A lot of great interaction and interest from people who attended the RADWood event. Got to meet a lot of the Acura Legend, actually, in fact, all the Acura Legend owners there, including an owner of a 6-speed manual coupe and a 5-speed manual first-gen coupe. Also a low mileage 1991, I believe, a cobalt blue Legend, which is a nice color to see in person. I'd never seen one until that day, so that was really cool to see. Also got to interact with all the owners to capture their stories, which I think will be coming out in a separate video on a separate channel. So if that ends up happening, I'll go ahead and link to that so that you can see that. But let's talk about RADWood and our journey from Philadelphia to Vermont and from Vermont to Philadelphia. So we took the Legend on what I would call a shakedown run for the inevitable Acura Legend meet in Kentucky this year. And I'm happy to report that the car performed flawlessly. So no major issues along the way. Performance was great. We actually, I think, did sort of an Italian tune-up. So as you recall, we did a transmission service before we went on this journey. And in that, we were trying to solve an issue. Well, there was still a remnant of that issue occurring before we left, but I said, let's go ahead and just go with it. Let's see how things shake out. And somewhere along New York in our journey, everything smoothed out, which is kind of interesting. So it must have been the fluid and the friction modifier that we used in the special cocktail on these older Acuras and Hondas that finally got into the necessary areas to smooth out the transmission observation that we had initially. So happy to report that everything went smoothly from the car. We much enjoyed the AC. It was a rather hot day down there, and I want to say that we were probably the only Acura Legend, possibly the only Acura or Honda that was running AC at that event. So interesting enough, a lot of people voiced to us that they didn't have AC in their car. They were wondering if in our restoration if we did an AC servicing and if everything was working on our vehicle. And yes, so this Acura Legend that we've gone through a restoration process with has had number of items serviced, as you know, from ABS. We also did include a check on the AC components, and AC was working fine, and so we didn't need to do anything there, but we just did a simple check and general service by replacing the belt on that driveline component, and it was working beautiful the entire journey. One thing I'll say is it's a little bit different driving an older car than a modern car, so you're not used to the slower response in both acceleration and braking. So there was a couple times along the way where we felt like the braking was a little less than desired, but it's really about the fact that we're dealing with about 30-year-old braking technology compared to modern cars that we're used to. One of the things that we will look at, though, is the front brakes. I feel like the front brakes on this car are producing a little bit more brake dust than I would like, and I feel like there was immediate brake fade occurring. And that could be simply because of the pad material and the combination of the rotors that were used. We did not do an upgrade on those or a replacement of those because it was noted by the previous owner that that had been recently done, and in our inspection they seemed to be fine. But I think possibly cheaper components were used at that time, which then kind of leads into some of the observations that we saw: increased brake dust, compromised braking performance. I will say that our service on the ABS and the fluid changeover in the general braking system, because we bled everything out and then replaced with new fluid, probably did help in retrospect looking at that. But happy to report in general that the car performed as anticipated, if not a little bit beyond our expectations. So at the rest of this video, I'll just put in a couple videos of our experience at RADWood in Philadelphia in general, as well as some of the other cars that we took note of that we thought were kind of special from that era and from the RADWood event. So hope you enjoy. Okay, we just arrived in Pennsylvania for the RADWood show. Car made it fine, no problems. Even found a little friend over here to park next to. So we'll be going out to dinner and then tomorrow getting ready for the car show. So see you then.
All right, next up, dude, the Reebok pumps. Everything is legit. I love it. Do you listen to Cameo? Is it? Yeah, me too. It's my favorite. All right, we got Cameo in the house. Round of applause just for coming out. All right, next up, I'm not sure what to say here, but I'm going to let the audience take a look at the
Checker flag girl.
Checker flag girl. Thank you. Round of applause for showing up. All right, next up, we got, I think this is more jazzercise, or what are you working with? Thigh Master? No Thigh Master. I repeat, no Thigh Master. All right, just a round of applause here for MTV. And Crimped Hair, MTV, I love it. Valley Girl, thank you, Daryl. All right, now we got a fit. Hang on one sec, buddy. Yeah, that'd be great. Gotta walk over here. All right, so let's turn that all the way almost down there. Okay.
The red E30 M3 with the BMX bike back there. That is RADWood Philly's gladdest import.
And it has all of the stuff, including the owner.
Oh, there he is. Oh, look at this guy. I think. Congratulations.
For Raddest dress too. Dang.
Tell us about the car.
What is 89 E30 M3, and I own this car.
Hold it up.
It's 89 E30 M3. I own this car for 4 years. She's not garage queen. I am more garage queen than she is. I drove her a lot, and she gave me different pleasure than my wife.
Wow, some inside baseball there. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much.
Any divorce attorneys here? No? All right. Raddest